Now here's a fragrance with vanilla, amber, rose, orange blossom, some spices. It's a bit sweet leaning, but it also has this leathery undercurrent from the brand Tomavicci. It's called Zenobia. I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on this fragrance in just a little bit, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I give you my thoughts on this 2023 release from the niche brand Tomavicci, it's called Zenobia. This is an ambery, blackcurrant, vanilla, rose, orange blossom, leather type of a fragrance, of course, with touches of saffron in there as well. I want to start the video off first by saying that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, and of course, if you love smelling your best, hit subscribe, hit the bell, and give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. It would really mean a lot to me. So, what are we dealing with here when we're talking about Tomavicci Zenobia? This is an extrait de parfum, so again, as far as the concentration is concerned, the expectation is that this is going to last a long time. If you're a fan of sweet leather amber fragrances, I personally think this is one you need to check out. It definitely has this sort of a sugary dry down that I think is really appropriate for this time of the year. So we're talking fall and winter. And normally I don't wear too many sweet fragrances in the hotter weather. This one has a bit of diffusiveness, of course, on account of the floral ingredients. In any case, I'm going to talk to you about the smell in just a little while. Let's start things off with a quick look at the presentation first. So right in the opening of this fragrance, you are going to get this warmth about it. And there's a sweet warmth that conveys itself right away. So it opens up with this touch of vanilla. And it's interesting because if I were to look at the note breakdown and it said praline or it said toffee or caramel or something like that, or even brown sugar, I would be just as convinced because it definitely opens up with this really interesting sweetness. And I enjoy the sweetness. I think it makes it for a really easy recommendation for this time of the year. You know, in the fall and winter, people are always craving something that's a bit on the sweeter side of things, a bit sweet leaning. So it definitely has that promising amber and vanilla combinations. And of course, amber is used in the synthesis, or vanilla is used in the synthesis of an amber accord, I should say. But with this fragrance, it's not just about the vanilla. It's not just about the amber. The floral ingredients do play a significant role in this fragrance. What do I mean by that? Okay, so it opens up sweet, but you sense something diffusive underneath that kind of gives it this non-linearity, but also makes it appear in your mind's eye three-dimensional. And so you smell it and you're like, wait a second, I can sense something else lurking underneath or happening in the background. And sure enough, it's the rose and the orange blossom. More rose than orange blossom though. So orange blossom has these characteristically floral and citrusy touches, and that I'm not really getting too much of that from this one. And even as far as the leather is concerned, you're not gonna get a Tuscan leather type of a leather. You're not gonna get a pure distance M type of a leather. You're not gonna get anything that's rough, coarse, or abrasive. You're gonna get a leather that is very smooth, and I would imagine it's on account of whatever saffron might be used in here, or you know, a saffron compound. This fragrance is more about the spicy amber tendencies than anything else. The other ingredients in here, yeah, sure, they're working their magic, they're creating something really interesting, but I think ultimately you're gonna pick this one up because you like sweet leaning fragrances, albeit not a full-blown gourmand. And I hope that makes sense. You know, it doesn't have too many sugary tendencies. It's a more mature type of a sweetness is the best way that I can describe it, right? It's not ethyl maltyl overdose. It's not a cotton candy heavy forward fragrance, but it does have that sweet ambery tendency about it that I really enjoy. Now, as far as blackcurrant / cassis is concerned, because I saw that in the note breakdown as well, sometimes it can smell a bit funky or animalic. People have even compared it to the smell of cat pee. You're not going to get that in this fragrance, right? Some fragrances, on the other hand, some MFK fragrances, you get it in the opening and then it's gone. And then of course, I've also encountered, I think it's Musk Therapy by Inicio Parfum, has some blackcurrant in the opening and you're gonna get something musky and you're like, what is that? But then after a while, like the more agreeable elements step forward and you're presented with something a lot more wearable. Well, this is wearable from the very start. And so this is the best time to pick up something like Zenobia by Tomavicci. If you're a fan of vanillic ambers with a touch of sweetness and some gentle florals that do not dominate the composition, but they're there to just make it more diffusive, more interesting, more non-linear. Check this fragrance out. I'm going to drop the links down below. Not a sponsored video, so I'm not making money from talking about this fragrance, but I just want to put you on to some fragrances that I personally sampled and that I own and that I think are worth spotlighting on the channel. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, to me it smells unique. Just that combination of the vanilla, the amber, the florals, the spices, the blackcurrant. I think this one comes across rather nice. And so I'm really enjoying this one. I will be spending more time wearing this one in the very near future, of course, with it starting to get a bit colder out now. In terms of the longevity, it's extrait de parfum concentration. You're looking at 10 plus hours, which is really good, really impressive. Projection on this one was very good for the first, I want to say, hour of application, maybe hour and a half, but it didn't radiate beyond an arm's length. I think had it contained a lot more citrus ingredients, it would have been very diffusive, but I would say about an hour or an hour and a half of radiating at an arm's length or within an arm's length. So the projection is pretty consistent and it lasts a long time, but it's not going to be anything super loud. Versatility on this one, perfectly unisex, great for the colder weather. I think on account of the sweetness, it will appeal to anybody of any age. I myself personally can see myself wearing this one formally as opposed to casually, especially if you're going to factor in the price tag, totally up to you. And as far as the presentation of this one is concerned, very heavy bottle. I know you can't feel it, but it does have this opulent, it looks like something that a king would wear, right? Or a king would have in his bedroom or, you know, quarters, as it were. Very luxurious with the gold and everything, and very elaborate presentation as well. My final verdict on this fragrance is beautiful vanilla amber with some spices. Zenobia by Tomavicci. Check it out. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you took something of value from this review, and if you did, please do consider supporting the channel by clicking subscribe, hitting the bell, and giving this video a thumbs up. It would really mean a lot to me. Thanks again for watching. I love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode.